So if you just joined us here on Insight, we're talking today about who makes your medical decisions if you are too sick to tell the doctor yourself. Advanced care planning is what that's called. We have Mary and Katie from Aging and In-Home Services of Northeast Indiana. And so let's just say we finally have this conversation, whether it's, you know, someone talking to their mom and dad, or mom and dad finally bring it up with their kids. How do we put it into writing?
The first thing that all of us should do, so 18 or over, anybody that hasn't started yet, is the appointment of a healthcare representative or a power of attorney for healthcare. That basically is giving a spokesperson if something were to happen, and then, you know, and that's something that can kind of continue over time. If we're reaching more of that ending stages of life, that last 12 months or so of life, there's an advanced directive called the Physician's Order for Scope of Treatment form, or a POST form, and at that time, looking at a form like that would be important.
So there's literal official forms, like there's tax forms, like
Absolutely.
And where do I find those?
Well, a couple of different places. So we have a statewide coalition called Honoring Choices Indiana. Our website, honoringchoicesindiana.org, would have those forms listed. Aging and In-Home Services would have those forms listed as well to pull them off.
We have a new brochure that we make available to clients. Anyone who calls into the Aging and Disability Resource Center or goes on the website and emails Katie, we have the forms available and a lot about the process.
So it wouldn't count, or it might make things complicated if I just write this on a napkin. I mean, it's, you know, I think.
I mean, I guess to spin that positively, it's better than nothing.
Better than nothing? Okay, well, that's progress. Good.
You know, because if you're putting it on a napkin, in theory, you're talking to somebody as you're writing it down on a napkin. But from a legal standpoint, it wouldn't provide much much clout.
Okay, so there is, and then do I have to walk that form into my attorney's office, or what?
So the basic healthcare representative form just requires a witness signature.
Okay.
The witness just can't be a family member. The actual power of attorney document does require a notary. A lot of times that is completed with an attorney. You know, it doesn't always have to be, but that definitely is the process that most people take. The post form is something that a patient would fill out with their physician. So a little bit of a different pathway there to have that completed.
So it's true, I never even realized or thought about that you could have much of this conversation with a physician.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
But it still feels like they may not be available, you know, in an emergency to explain to the ER folks what needs to happen.
Yeah, that's why that spokesperson is so vitally important, because that's the person everybody's going to turn and look at when something is happening.
And I have a feeling we're going to get to this in the next segment, but even if you're married and you're like, well, my spouse would be the spokesperson, that's not always true, or you could be in an accident and both of you might be incapable of.
Well, sure. You know, I always encourage people to have a backup. So if they have appointed a primary person, having a secondary for situations just as that is really important. The law does not automatically defer to the spouse at this time, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit as that's changing. Yeah,
because that was, I think, of all the information that you sent over so I could have at least a little idea about what we might talk about, that was the part that struck me the most, is that the law, we'll get into this in just a second, but they are making this a simpler way to navigate the healthcare system.
Sure.
It's important stuff. You get to leave, apparently, and we're going to bring in another guest who will tell us more about this. But if you, again, want some help, use the resources at Aging and In-Home Services of Northeast Indiana. You see the website, you see their address, too, and the phone numbers. We'll be right back on Insight.